See, apparently this new game came out. I didn't even know about this. There's apparently another Concord that's coming out that I wasn't even fucking aware of. I feel like that it's already... Wait, is it already dead? Wait, it's...
So about a month ago, we talked about this game, Unknown 9 Awakening.
Unknown 9, yeah, accurate. I didn't even know it existed.
There's another giant failure associated with Sweet Baby Inc. Kim Belair having been credited for working on the game, as well as David Bedard at Reflector.
Yeah, she did like the speeches, like she was the one talking.
Behind Unknown 9 Awakening, who's also a co-founder of Sweet Baby Inc. So founding members of Sweet Baby Inc. have worked on Unknown 9 Awakening. And let's get a brief refresher of how that game's been doing before we take a look at the further news regarding this update. Hopping over to SteamDB. As of recording right now, there are currently
maybe the 9 was referencing to the amount of people that know about the game. That must have been it.
22 people in-game playing Unknown 9 Awakening on Steam.
Holy shit.
Review score sitting at 33.47%. Astronomically terrible, as well as the player count, of course. And the all-time peak player count is also
200.
Awful, having achieved 285. To call this game a flop might even be generous.
I don't think
it's a flop. And I don't just say
flop.
that because of the terribly performing game itself, but everyone...
This is crazy. Like, look at the quality of the game, too. Like, this is millions of dollars getting pissed away. And like, the actress in there, she was the one who played Yennefer in The Witcher.
Associated with Unknown 9 Awakening.
Look at her arms. Yeah, bro, wait a second. I didn't even... God damn. She looks like a male human in WoW.
From Reflector, a Sweet Baby Inc., and even Bandai Namco seem to have thought that this would be a great, highly successful new intellectual property, as they were making their own cinematic universe of sorts, including various comic releases to go...
Wait, there's Unknown 9... Oh, no. They're trying... No. Bro. They're in the hole for this probably $100 million. Oh my God. Look at all this media.
Along with the game. And even a web series and scripted podcast. Oh, and also some novels, as you can see here. Got this whole thing lined up. So, like,
yeah,
let's just take a minute to just let this all sink in, man. Like,
who cares?
Holy smokes, dude. This reminds me of Concord, right? Like, didn't the Concord...
No, this is even more embarrassing than Concord, because at least Concord was just a game, right? They had the one secret level thing. But this is, like, basically... These people... Like, this is the definition of counting your eggs before they hatch. These people don't even have one egg. They thought they had a whole dozen.
People think that this was going to be like a long-term, like, Star Wars level successful IP. And they had, like, all these, like, huge ambitions for Concord. I mean, this is a similar thing here with Unknown 9 Awakening.
Oh,
obviously,
my God.
Far less money spent on this than Concord. And I don't believe Sweet Baby Inc.
I don't know if that's true. I mean, if they have all of these IPs running simultaneously... I mean, Concord is a legendary level failure, but I feel like this one, like, if I was one of the people that was like a person that kind of like thought all this out, I would be trying to take out a life insurance policy. I would be like, I need to look out for my family. Like, I just made a really big mistake. Yeah, I'd be taking out a life insurance policy. This is bad.
Involved with Concord at all. I'm simply comparing how both have flopped entirely, and of course there's also similarities in things like DI policies with the games, and also out of touchness and tone deafness from the people involved with both games. The point is, it's just funny to me, the similarities. It's really astonishing when people defend Sweet Baby Inc. They always cite like 2 successful games that they worked on, that being Ragnarok.
I don't think Sweet Baby is the reason why it's bad. I think it's bad and they invite Sweet Baby in to make it worse. I don't think it's like the harbinger of death, right? No, it's they're invited in with open arms and paid for their time.
And also Spider-Man. And the defenders conveniently never talk about the numerous growing list of extreme failures that Sweet Baby Inc. has worked on.
Wait, is this the game?
And another point that I've brought up before is Ragnarok and Spider-Man.
This makes Star Wars Outlaws look like Elden Ring.
Had giant teams working on those games. In other words, SBI's involvement was probably kept at a minimum. But the games that have far smaller teams and therefore likely...
Jesus, look at this. This is so disgusting. Oh my God, why would anybody...
Far more involvement from Sweet Baby Inc. tend to be these huge flops, man. And now in this situation, I haven't even finished everything because...
Look at how shitty this is. I've got to say it. Riddick did this better in 2000 and what was it, 2003? Yeah, this is insane.
Because... turns out Reflector is going through layoffs, similar to Zhao, who worked with Sweet Baby Inc., who then had layoffs and then shut down their entire games division. It looks like Reflector is currently going down that same road. As that takes us to Eurogamer, who says, Unknown 9 Awakening developers report
layoffs. How could this happen? How could this have happened to them? Let's be honest, a lot of those games look worse than Half-Life 2. I bet there's a Half-Life 2 texture pack that makes the game look better than this. You're right.
Layoffs. Reflector Entertainment's debut launched last month. And already they are now laying people off.
Wait, so this... Hold up. Oh, they launched last month? Yeah, bro, the 9 is referring to the amount of people that knew this game was coming out. I didn't even know this happened. Check Steam. Okay, I'm going to pull it up right now. So 285 people. Wow. Wait, is this worse than Immortals of Avenum? Oh my... Wait, is it worse than Concord? Is it worse than Dustborn? Okay, it's not that bad. Okay. Jesus. Who are those 3 people? Probably YouTubers that are making a video about the game being bad. This is insane.
Staff members who worked on Unknown 9 Awakening report layoffs across the team at Canadian outfit
I should play the game.
Reflector Entertainment. Jobs lost include roles within Reflector's art, marketing, narrative, and quality assurance teams.
I could see why.
Game developer reported Unknown 9 Awakening launched last month to mixed reviews on Steam, where it sits with a mixed rating. Less than 100 players have rated the game.
Jesus.
The game was also meant to act as a central point for the franchise as a cross-media brand.
Cross-media? Bro, how do people... ever since the MCU came out and, Marvel did what it did, everybody thinks, oh, okay, well, let's just do the same thing. As if Marvel didn't have nearly 100 years of nostalgia and lore and source material to go off of. How do you fucking think this is... even DC couldn't do it. I feel yeah, and loads of talent. Yes, you have the greatest actors in the world. You have Robert Downey Jr., Chris Hemsworth, fucking Benedict Cumberbatch, or whatever the fuck his name is. These guys are amazing. And you think that you're going to get, the one character in the show that people hated, that they hated it the most because of her, you're going to have her be the main character? How stupid are you? Like,
just this week, a second season of Unknown 9 Out of Sight tie-in podcast was launched, while the fourth issue of its graphic novel series Unknown 9 Torment arrived. There's also a web series, Unknown 9 Passage, which you can go watch on YouTube. We also have a quote that reads, "Unfortunately, I was affected by the layoffs at Reflector Entertainment, which means I'm currently looking for a job as a narrative designer or..."
Bro, I'm gonna be honest. You need to change your resume. If you were involved in this game, just say that you were in jail for committing a felony. Yeah, I think it'll probably look better on your resume than saying that you played this game. Or you made this game. Yeah, say like, yeah, I did an armed robbery and I killed somebody. Oh, okay, good. I was worried you were working on Unknown 9. That's fine. Yeah, come on. Yeah, you're good.
Game writer. If you hear of any opportunities, please let me know, one staff member who lost their job wrote. Eurogamer has contacted Bandai Namco for comment. They also mentioned that the protagonist Haruna was played in the final game by Anya Shalatra, aka Yennefer, in Netflix's The Witcher. And it was the first project from the Montreal-based Reflector, co-founded by former Assassin's Creed Unity creative director Alexandre Amancio. Returning to David Bedard, you may have noticed that he had also worked over at Ubisoft, seemingly Ubisoft Montreal. There's a recurring theme with a lot of these consultation firms like Sweet Baby Inc. and others that they are based out of Canada.
Yeah, they're Canada. We need to have... Like, Trump keeps talking about this wall in Mexico. I think the Mexicans are great. Why don't we build the wall up there at Canada? Let's get them the fuck out of here. Yeah, we're building the wrong wall, guys.
Canada. And it does seem like a number of the people working there do indeed have ties back
to
Mexicans
are playing Sparking Zero. They fucking love video games. They're super fans of everything. Meanwhile, Canadians, fuck this, man. They're coming and messing up our games.
Soft. A top comment on Arkotaku in Action discussing this news would say, "I would have loved to be a fly on the office wall with the people in charge when the sales numbers for those novels and comic books started coming in." What sales numbers? The response reading, "It's highly regarded. Why don't they do any market research and playtesting? Spend 5 minutes on YouTube and you'll see this is not a winning strategy. Virtue signaling may get you a lot of clicks, but it won't get you sales."
It doesn't even get you a lot of clicks. I didn't even know this game was coming out. If I had known this game was coming out, I'm going to tell you the truth. I would have played it because it's the kind of game that it's bad. And so like you can make content about it being bad.
To be quite frank, though, all of this stuff is extremely bizarre. Like, you would imagine that they would care about sales, but then they talk about they being Sweet Baby Inc. employees having been on record talking about wanting to burn the gaming industry to the ground. On top of that, we've seen how a number of these consultation firms and their associates have been grifting off of government money, attempting to use DEI as a way of achieving ESG metrics, which helps them
This is another reason why you had so many DEI initiatives, by the way, is that not only did you have like private equity and like, you know, like venture capitalist money that was incentivizing it, but you also had the government that was incentivizing it. So effectively, it was a really good farming strategy. So everybody kept farming that dungeon, but now the dungeon got nerfed because of Trump and nobody's doing it anymore. And they're closing the dungeons. Yeah, Doge came in and it's gone. Strat got nerfed.
Said funding. It's all extremely bizarre and corrupt. And clearly these people really shouldn't be in the gaming industry. They have no passion for games or gamers. As a matter of fact, lack of passion is an understatement. A lot of these people flat out despise gamers. So let me know what you think about all of that Sweet Baby Inc. and Unknown 9 Awakening stuff.
So fucking funny to me.
And we've got one more thing to take a look at here. As I've had a lot of people tagging me and mentioning the situation in my comments, asking me to cover this. So let's take a look. Ollie Barter had said,
"Yeah, I almost all the Steam reviews for the game got the game for free." Wait, really? Let me see. Unknown 9 Steam reviews. Okay. Mixed. Received product for free. Wait. This guy got it for free, still said it sucked. Oh my... They can't even pay people to like it.
Sony is in talks.
It's bundled with AMD.
And by the way, thank you all for the tags and
They should have bundled it with Intel.
Now let's take a look at what he says here over on Forbes. In a pretty astonishing piece of news, it seems that Sony is in talks to buy CatDany. According to Reuters, Sony is thinking of buying CatDany, which would have massive ramifications for both games and anime. From a gaming standpoint, the big acquisition would be From Software, of which CatDany has a controlling stake as of 2014. Admittedly, Sony already has a small chunk of FromSoft, along with Tencent, but this new setup would put Sony much more directly in charge. Considering Microsoft's recent acquisition of Activision, it makes sense that Sony would go after a company like FromSoft via CatDany.
Yeah, of course.
Sony has had a long-standing relationship with FromSoft, going back to the 90s and the original PlayStation, so in theory, this could be a good matchup. However, my only concern with this is that the Japan studio at Sony was gutted recently. Okay, yeah, hold up, let's talk about that really quick. So, back in 2021, yeah, Sony essentially shut down Japan studio. Now, people often meme around with varying levels of seriousness that Sony isn't even a Japanese company any longer. And Sony gutting or shutting down Japan studio, however you want to phrase it, certainly does seem like a symbolic representation of that being the case. They attempted to justify this action by essentially saying that the studio just wasn't profitable enough anymore. And then what did they do a few years later? Get involved with Concord, losing about $400 million. Now,
well, that's not fair. To be fair, they thought Concord was going to be their Guardians of the Galaxy. They thought, oh man, we're going to do Concord and we're going to make like a TV show out of it. And it's going to be like the next cinematic Sony universe. Like, this is going to be like our Overwatch and we're going to do it right. Like, yeah, it just didn't. It was just, they just wasted $400 million. And the holding company that owned the studio that basically owned Concord, I think it was like Firewalk or, basically, down in a blaze of fire studios, whatever the fuck it is, was actually valued at $1 billion at one point. That's crazy, huh? Wow.
Of course, a lot of stuff has occurred throughout all of this. This is just like a few brief points, but oh my gosh.
I think they received investment
so we left off here.
At that valuation.
However, my only concern with this is that Japan studio at Sony was gutted recently, and the same thing could happen under Sony to FromSoft. That would obviously be awful. The other side of this is Kadokawa's anime and manga output. Sony already has Crunchyroll and Aniplex, so buying Kadokawa would bring a huge amount of IP across anime and manga under Sony's roof. Kadokawa also has a sizable chunk of the Western anime press.
I didn't even know that.
Having bought Anime News Network and owning Bookwalker, who run GX Plus.
I feel like we're getting close to a,
Yeah, like Anime News Network and Sony, they would go perfect together, hand in hand, if you get that joke.
Monopoly.
The joke being Anime News Network's terrible reputation. It's a lot of stuff we could talk about regarding that, but I'm not going to bury the lead at the end. The article would conclude saying, in short, this is a lot to take in and would have a dramatic impact across games and anime, not only in Japan, but also globally. Yeah, so I do think this would be pretty terrible stuff. Sony...
I think a lot of people are worried that anime is going to follow the same trend, and like a lot of these larger corporate Japanese studios are going to follow the same trends that American studios are by trying to censor and appeal to people that aren't really their audience in order to reach a larger market. That's what I think a lot of people are worried about. Like, am I crazy on this? Yeah, they already are. Exactly. It's definitely worrying. I think a lot of people feel that way.
Have an increasing grip, infesting their hands onto FromSoft even more. And clearly also not a good thing for the anime industry, in my opinion. We'll see how things continue to develop, but let me know what you think about all of this news, the Unknown 9 Awakening stuff, and this Sony stuff at the end of this video. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed my coverage, and if you did, please consider liking and or subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.
That is insane. I had no fucking idea this game even came out. I remember hearing that it was coming out, and I was like, oh, this is just probably something that's stupid. And they had an entire cinematic... Let me link you guys the video. This is... I don't know what I would do without these. Like, so many of these happen that I can't even keep up with them all now. This is insane. I got 2 free games with my GPU, Unknown and Space Marine 2. Oh, so you got 1 free game then. Yeah, that's crazy. Unknown 9 Awakening. With a 200 player peak. Again, guys, to keep this into context, that's worse than Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. It's worse than Immortals of Avenum. And it's even worse than Concord. Literally unknown. Worse than Concord? Yes. How many millions did it cost? Definitely, I think that we can rest assured that it probably cost more money to make than it made. I think you can pretty much guarantee that. How the fuck? I don't know. I have no idea how you do that. $70 to $100 million. I could see it be a massive, massive amount of money that they spent on it. And, well, that's what you get. That's what you fucking get. You make a shitty game like that, nobody buys it. Blaming Sweet Baby is reaching. I don't think Sweet Baby... I think this game sucked from the beginning, and Sweet Baby just got invited in to make it worse. I think it's like, basically, Sweet Baby, they're not the Antichrist. They're just simply the horsemen of the apocalypse. They signify that the apocalypse is coming, but it's really the Antichrist that does it. Like, that's it. They're more like an omen or something like that, right? The Harbinger. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's the Silver Surfer and the Herald, the Messenger. Exactly. I think it's so fucking ridiculous. I can't imagine thinking that you're going to build an entire cinematic universe like this. I hope that this is the last cinematic universe that we see. I think that if you have a cinematic universe that you're cooking right now, just abort it. Abort it. Stop it. You're not Marvel. You're never going to be Marvel. Stop it. I don't know what you're thinking. Unless it's Sonic, yes. Yeah, they just stop doing it.